Hello, everybody. Sorry about that. Looks like we got disconnected for a second there. Let me do another quick systems check. If you're hearing me okay and seeing my screen all right, just type okay in the chat box, please. I know some of you typed okay already. If you do that again, just to make sure we're up and running again, we got disconnected for a moment. All right, great. I've got enough responses. Thank you very much. We'll get started. So we're focusing obviously on cryptocurrencies today. As we get going, as always, keep in mind that all investments have risk. Obviously, we're all here to go after the potential profits that are there. And with cryptocurrencies, the potential profits are very nice. But keep in mind when you're investing in forex trading, spread betting, options, each investment has its level of risk, and no one trade is guaranteed to win. Obviously, what we cover is meant to be from an educational perspective, to add to your knowledge base, to improve upon your trading strategies, or to start building a trading strategy from the beginning if you're brand new to things. And keep in mind it's not meant to be financial advisement as we go forward, but looked at from an educational perspective. And obviously, not everybody wins, right? I'd say about a third, as you see in the graphic here, about a third of traders with AvaTrade are able to have a strategy that's successful long term. And the trick is to be consistent enough to overcome the spread and the swaps so that you're winning enough consistently to pull a profit. And 3 out of every 10 or so traders are able to do that. There's no reason why you can't be one of those 3 that trades with AvaTrade, that's able to have long-term profit. And it's all about looking at the fundamentals, the technicals, coming up with a plan that makes sense structurally and concept-wise to be able to move forward better than the average trader. We could get into what are cryptocurrencies in terms of the technology behind it. I don't think we need to get into too much of that. But just keep in mind that blockchain technology has been around for a while now. It's a decentralized technology that is seen as being very secure, very much hack-proof in nature, and has really become mainstreamed with large banks, private companies using the technology for various purposes, issuing stock and that sort of thing, and even creating their own digital currencies, some banks now. So as the technology has become more mainstream, people have begun trading quite a bit more on cryptocurrencies, and the trending on the charts has really become quite predictable from a technical analysis standpoint. And as we get into the charts on my demo account, keep in mind the reasons why technical analysis seem to work so well with cryptocurrencies, even more so than other assets, is there's less fundamental influence with cryptocurrencies. And let me kind of give you an example. If you're trading on Euro USD, how many different economies do you have to keep an eye on to understand fundamentally which way that pairing might go? And you think about it and you say, okay, Euro USD. I have to keep an eye on the entire European Union, right? All the economic announcements, the breaking news, Brexit, all this stuff. And I have to keep an eye on the U.S. economy, U.S.-China trade negotiations, U.S. announcements, jobs numbers. So that's a lot to keep a handle on fundamentally when you have a standard currency pairing like Euro USD, GBP, JPY, etc. When you're trading on cryptocurrencies, you only have the cryptocurrency paired against typically the USD, right? So you have to keep an eye on the U.S. economy a bit to understand what the strength of the USD will be. But that's it. You have no other fundamental news other than maybe the breaking news story on cryptocurrencies on occasion that can move the market. So you have a lot more reliance on technical analysis and less fundamental news influence because there's no one nation to call home for cryptocurrencies. There's no jobs announcements or economic numbers for cryptocurrencies. And so less fundamental influence in general. So that's something to keep in mind when we look at the charts here in a little bit. at the live movements and the past movements over the last days with the cryptocurrencies and do a bit of technical analysis, you'll see clearly that the technical analysis strategies would have worked very, very well. Simple breakthrough strategy, support, resistance, trends. You'll see how simple it would have been to make profit. Okay. And then we combine things with the fundamental news that does exist, the limited amount that comes out about crypto currencies, and you'll say, wow, it would have maybe been even easier to predict these movements with my technical analysis. So let's quick look what fundamental news has come out with cryptocurrencies. Okay. You can always find, like on investing.com, what's the latest movement. Bitcoin over the last 24 hours, this shows you the 24-hour change, down over 3%. Ethereum down over 7%. Ripple down over 8%. Bitcoin Cash down over 7%. Does that sound like a bearish market or a bullish market for cryptocurrencies in general? Just in that quick glance, you get an idea of what's been happening, right? Bearish would mean dropping, downward pressure. Bullish would mean upward, positive movement. Yeah, obviously it's bearish pressure, right? You can see that in 5 seconds, that's what's happening. Downtrends and bearish pressure. Okay, so let's look a little deeper and see what else we can find in terms of fundamental news. Okay, Bitcoin and altcoins gaining bearish momentum. This came out today. Okay, that's obvious. We already saw that with the numbers that we just looked at. Here's an article telling us, okay, bearish momentum, talks about support levels being broken and that sort of thing. Okay, all right, great. We get the idea. We go to another article. This really is kind of bad news, right? Bitcoin 20,000 and Ethereum 790,000 still might be dumped on the market by Plus token. That's Bitcoin 20,000. That means 138 million in USD value, 104 million in USD value for Ethereum could be dumped on the market. There was some game playing here by one of these Bitcoin providers and coin providers called Plus Token. Apparently, they had some kind of scam going, and they might be dumping a ton of Bitcoin and Ethereum on the markets soon. Okay, if that doesn't create bearish pressure for at least Bitcoin and Ethereum, I don't know what will. Right? So while they didn't hack into any of the blockchain, they were playing some kind of game here. It sounds like a Ponzi scheme of some kind. They say here, one of the largest Ponzi schemes ever. They're saying maybe right here. So wow, no wonder there's some downward movement maybe. So with all of that, then we take a look and we say volatility index down a bit. And if anyone's been paying attention, the cryptos have been mimicking gold quite a bit as a potential safe haven because they're not tied to any one economy. They've been behaving like gold, which is not tied to any one economy, as kind of a safe haven, strengthening during times where the indices were dropping and dropping when the indices were going up. And if anyone saw yesterday, indices reached new highs, especially the US indices. And so bearish pressure. Another reason why the cryptocurrencies maybe were dropping. Okay, another fundamental reason why they might have been dropping. A predictive reason why you might have chosen to sell yesterday. Okay, type okay if you're with me thus far with the fundamentals that we just covered. Basically everything pointing to why, if we look at the charts, we probably will see that the cryptos dropped yesterday. Okay, any questions come up, let me know. So let's jump to the charts then. We did a quick 5-10 minute overview of fundamental news. We get the idea, okay, a lot of bearish pressure on the crypto market in general. And the first chart we look at, Bitcoin USD, I'm on the 1 hour candles. No surprise, right? Look at this support level from yesterday. Support, 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 breakthrough candle, and boom. Easy, predictable profit. What kind of pending order would have sold as soon as that support level was broken here? And this was, let's see what time yesterday, 6 p.m. yesterday evening, GMT time. What kind of pending order would have been an easy profit here? The support level broke. You knew yesterday there was a good deal with US-China. We knew there was good news on the market. We know gold was dropping. You look and you say, okay, cryptos have been following gold. And if you saw the bearish news about this whole potential scam from this dealer that we just looked at the article, you see it was maybe a lot of Bitcoin and Ethereum going to be dumped on the market, which if there's increased coins on the market, that tends to drive price down. You had lots of reason to say, okay, I'll set up a pending order. If this support level gets broke, I sell. Boom, it broke. What kind of pending order would have sold if you had it waiting right down here, just below the support? It breaks the support, it hits your at price, and it sells, and look at the profit you'd have made, no problem. Sell stop, that's it. Many of you are on top of that. Sell stop. So that was an easy profit for those of you trading crypto. If you're following the news, some of that news I just showed you was out yesterday as well. Okay, those aren't just articles from today. The bearish pressure was there yesterday. The bearish sentiment was there yesterday on cryptos. With a quick 5-10 minute look like I did, you'd have seen it. Fundamentally, you'd have seen those stories. And if you set up your support level here, breakthrough candle, how much profit would you have made if you got in here after the breakthrough on the support? 69, let's say 73, you got in. It consolidated sideways down around 69.50. Okay, so even if you got out, I'm sorry, 68.50. Even if you got out right now, after it's moved sideways for the last, 12 hours, you still made over $100 profit per coin with this drop from here down to where it is now. $120 profit per coin. On one simple pending order, we followed the fundamental news. We set up a technical analysis entry point, support level, breakthrough on that support from right here, and entry point for a sell stop. Type yes if you'd like me to show you how to set up a sell stop. If you're not sure how to do it, I'll show you. Okay, very simple. Bitcoin, and it would work the same for anything, but here's the Bitcoin order window. You see it says market execution. You simply change it to pending order. Then once you have pending order selected, you select the type of pending order. If we want a sell stop, that means you're going to program the at price to be lower than the current price. Okay? In this case, if the movement was still up here and you're setting up your sell stop, you'd have put the at price probably somewhere around 69.75. So your at price would have been 69.75. Now, obviously, if I try and prepare a pending order now as a sell stop at that price, it's going to tell me it doesn't make sense because the price is lower than that now. Sell stop means you're programming it to enter at a lower price. So we can set up another sell stop if you think the downward momentum will continue. You see there's another support level, right? Where do you see the current support level? I see it right about here. Okay, here's the current support level. Support, support, support. Okay, it's hanging above the support. If it breaks that support, right? Let's draw another line. Just like you could have gotten in on a sell stop here after it broke this support. If it breaks this support, you'd expect potentially another breakthrough candle like this one, right? So let's set up the support level just below the current, the entry price just below the current support, okay? So if it hits 67.88, that means it probably broke the current support level, okay? So I'm going through the motion of how to set up a sell stop on the current price now. You see how it would have worked here. Support level, sell stop below the support, it breaks the support and boom, breakthrough candle, you enter quick profit. Our new support level, we're preparing a sell stop below that one. If it breaks through and hits your at price, if it has another large breakthrough candle, you have another nice potential large profit, right? Now, again, it doesn't work every time. So you want to limit your risk accordingly. You might want to put a stop loss back above the support in case it reverses back up. And where might you take profit on this potential breakthrough here? If it breaks through, where might your profit be? If we set up a sell stop entry point here, assuming that maybe it'll break the support and you enter on a sell stop here, where should maybe your take profit be if you enter here on a sell stop? Adele, good question. How far up should the stop loss be? It depends how patient you are as a trader and how much exposure you're willing to take per move, right? So for each trader, it can be different. It depends on your trade size, right? And your percent exposure per point on the chart and how much overall you're wanting to expose per move. Obviously, the smaller the trade size, the further away, the further back above the support your stop loss could be on the sell stop without it overexposing on the position. So to widen the strike zone, I would call that widening the strike zone, you take a smaller percent exposure per point, and you can then widen the strike zone, have your stop loss a little further back above the support so that you don't get caught up with a false signal back up. So let's take a look. Let's zoom in on this and we'll set up an example trade. Again, this is not me telling you, hey, you should sell on Bitcoin with a sell stop potentially. I'm saying this is a move that has potential, nice profit, no guarantee to win, but we see what happened the last time. We see what happened, exactly what happened here. If that occurs again, we can set up for the likelihood that if it occurs again, you could make a profit just like you would have made on this one. Okay, so we'll set that up now. And then if you still have questions after we do the setup, let me know. So let's go to 1 hour candles. We see the support level here. We see on the 4 hour candles that the support is broken. Let's say it's 67.90. Okay. Right about where I drew this line, 67.88, I'll say 67.90. So let me open a position for a pending order. And again, this is a simulation to show you how you would do this if you think that's what will happen, right? So pending order, sell stop, sells from a lower point. If I'm saying 67.90, is 67.90 lower than the current price? Yes, it is, right? Current price is 68.27 or so. So 67.90. If I want to put a stop loss back above, if this is my entry point on a sell, I'm assuming I'm selling because it broke the support, right? So if that's why I'm selling, then I would assume it won't go back above the support if it's supposed to have a breakthrough candle like this, right? If it does go back above the support, at some point you might say, okay, I'm out. I'll accept that it was a false signal and get out with whatever amount of loss makes sense to you. I see this as a spot that's a type of resistance where it tried to go back up and then dropped. So if it went back above this mark, technically speaking, Adele, I think that's what you were asking for a technical reason. Technically speaking, I would say if it goes back above this resistance point, then maybe I get out and say, it's uptrending now. So if it went above 69, let's say 35, so my stop loss on this sell stop, if it activated, my stop loss could be something like 69.35. As an example, obviously I'm not telling you these should be your exact numbers if you were going to make a move like this. Your take profit might be somewhere near the next support level, right? So if it breaks this support and it's going to drop like this one dropped, okay, you're looking at where's the next support level over here, maybe somewhere just before this low point, right? Somewhere around, maybe you say 6,700. You might be willing to take profit, okay? And obviously you can put whatever number makes sense to you when you look at the technical analysis, okay? Some people want a quicker profit and get out sooner. Some people are more patient. Okay, so in this case, I'm risking, if I enter at 67.90, I'm risking about 40, stop loss should be 60, entry price should be 68. Let me see here, no, sorry, yeah, 67.90, okay? Stop loss is back up here at 69.35. Okay, so I'm risking 145 to the stop loss. Okay, and my potential profit is, and I'm sorry, this is 66.27 to this line right here. And that's well before this support. So you could be saying even this line, 65.50 is before the low point of this wick. So if we go to the base of these candles, let me draw a line on the base of the candles, or we can look across. Here's the base of the candles. We could say that's somewhere around 66.50, right? So take profit could be 66.50, okay? Now, my potential profit is 140 down, and my risk is about 140 up, 145. So I've got equal risk, potential risk to potential profit with that setup. Type okay if you're still hearing me. I've got someone saying they lost sound. Okay, all right. It's just that the one person. I'll let them know. 1 second. Okay, I'm letting Alex know it's just him that lost sound. Okay, we'll continue. So I'm setting this up with equal risk to potential profit from the entry point to potential loss to the stop loss. Okay, in that effect, you only need to be right better than 50% to profit. Okay, somewhere above 50% helps bring you to profit. Now, if you wanted to stretch this take profit down to the actual low point here, you could be saying your take profit could be another 100 points down even to 65.50, right? If I follow 65.50 across, it's still not below this support level here. Okay, but that's up to each individual trader. Right now, I'm setting it up as about an equal distance to risk to potential reward. Okay, equal distance to stop loss to take profit approximately, give or take a little bit. Okay, so now I place this and there's my pending order. Okay, it's not opened yet, it's a pending order. So if it reaches this line here, okay, this green dotted line, it's hard to see because I drew a red line over it. This line here, then it enters as a sell, take profit here. If it comes down, hits this, and comes all the way back up here, then I'm out. And that's an equal risk reward. You can set it up differently if you'd like. But this, by having the distance, a nice wide strike zone to my stop loss, as Adele was asking, I help eliminate some of the false signals if it's just testing back up and then drops. Okay? Any questions on that? Yes, of course. You certainly could set it with your stop loss closer. If you say, okay, once it breaks, I expect it to do this. If that's what you expect to see, you only need your stop loss right back above. It doesn't have to be so far up. If you think once it goes down, it'll just keep running and not come back, then you can say, okay, my stop loss is just back above the support. Once it breaks, if you want your stop loss just to be right back above it, then your stop loss could be much closer. I've just moved it to 68.76 or so. Okay, that's up to each individual trader. Now I'm risking only half, approximately, of what my potential take profit is. Then I could be right only 50% of the time and still profit. In this case, I could be right maybe 40% of the time and profit if my take profit is half the distance, double the distance of my stop loss. Okay, and I'm still back above the support. So that's where we get into, as some of you were asking, well, what's the right location? The right location is what you're most comfortable doing. Some want to risk less and they want to be more precise, so their stop loss is just back above the support. Others say, no, I'm going to be more patient. I'll put my stop loss up above the next resistance level to give it more time in case it does come back a little. That's up to each individual person. Adele, I haven't seen a lot of seasonality influence. No. Good question. Not with the cryptos so much as some other assets might show. like natural gas and some other things that are certainly affected differently in the winter than the summer. Okay, so someone was asking to set up a buy stop. Okay, it's the same idea, but in reverse. Now I'm going to delete this one just to get it out of the way. Okay, and let's zoom back in on the 1 hour candles, and you say, okay, if it does break back above this point, okay, this was a resistance point, huge drop. It tried to recover, it hit a mark, and boom, right back down. Okay, it hit and right back down. You would think, in order to break this point right here, it's going to take some kind of momentum, a shift in this bearish momentum for it to break above this resistance point. If it does break above this resistance point and you feel that that means it'll rise maybe to the next resistance point, which is up here, okay, let me get rid of some of these lines. We don't need all the extra lines. Okay, so here's the next resistance point. If it breaks above here, if it breaks through, the next resistance point is this old support level right here, okay? And this took a lot of momentum to break. The size of that candle shows how much momentum it took to break this support, okay? So if it breaks this resistance, it doesn't mean it's going to break this one. It could, but a logical spot technical analysis wise, if you were doing a buy stop on a breakthrough here, okay, if you're buying from a higher point, buy stop. If it breaks through this resistance level, triggers your buy stop from this point, the first logical spot technical analysis wise where you might expect the movement to pause on the way up might be this resistance level right here. So if you get in with a buy stop, let's draw a line, say right about here, as it breaks this resistance and you get in on a buy, your potential take profit mark might be just before this resistance right up here. Okay, and you might say, well, that's not a big distance from here to here. It actually is. From 69.29 to 69.90. That's like $60 rise in the price of Bitcoin, $60. So you could make some potential profit from here to here on a breakthrough, okay? Now, if you believe the market will reverse now and you trust this support level, okay, then a market buy now, if you trust this support, a market buy now and a take profit at that same spot, obviously has a much larger potential profit. If you did a market buy, stop loss just below this support, right down here, if it breaks the support, you're out maybe. Market buy off this support, you're looking at a rise potentially from 68.55 up to 69.90. So now we're looking at more like $135 rise. Potential profit from this support to this resistance up here with only one small resistance level in the way. Okay? Now this is where the risk reward starts to be more in your favor because you're right on the support. You only have to risk maybe from 68.55 to 68.13 to be below the support. So we're talking about, give or take about $40 risk on the downside to get below the support to your stop loss, $40 with a potential profit of about $140. Okay, so we're talking over 3-to-1 ratio. Potential profit to this resistance level up here compared to potential loss to your stop loss on a market move right now. Okay, so because we said cryptocurrencies, many times you can trust technical analysis more than other assets, you might say, well, look, this support level got tested once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, and has not broken. Maybe you take a shot at a much larger potential profit to come up here with a limited risk just below the support as an opportunistic entry point close to the support. Okay, in this case, it's not a pending order waiting to get in up here, you could get in with a market move, limited risk, potential profit up to this more major resistance level, bypassing in your mind maybe this resistance level here. Type okay if you're with me on these two potential setups, either a buy stop or a market buy, trusting the support level right now. Okay, we can look and see what gold is doing right now, because remember we said there's been some correlation between crypto movements and gold, that cryptos have been kind of viewed as a safe haven a little bit, and what gold is doing much of the time recently, it's giving you kind of insight as to what the cryptos might do, right? So let's split the screen. Let's add gold. Let me add gold. Okay, let me add my favorite template. I saved it as Troy's favorite. You guys can do that as well, because I like the white background and the green and red candles. Okay, and then let's get them side by side. And now we've got 1 hour candles on both. What has gold been doing so far, let's say in the past 10, 12 hours? I see gold trying to pull up over the last 10 or 12 hours, okay? There's a slight uptrend that started. It is pulling back right now. Here's the most recent support level for gold. Okay, support, 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 uptrend, coming back towards the support, but still above the support right here. So maybe if gold comes back up and shows an uptrend again, right now it's correcting back down. So maybe you wait, you see if gold starts uptrending again, then you might say, then I trust cryptos maybe even more to come back up. Or in your mind, you might say, I already see an uptrend, which there is an uptrend today. It's higher now than it opened down here off the support level. Bitcoin and many of the other cryptos, I keep saying cryptos, right? Instead of Bitcoin, I'll show you. Ethereum, so many of the other cryptocurrencies look the same as Bitcoin. And we could look at the Bitcoin 10, which is an indice for the cryptos, and you'll see also a similar setup. So I see an uptrend on gold with a little bit of a pullback. I see Bitcoin with a support level similar to this support level on gold, and it already tried to rise and pulled back. And so you might be getting some confirmation here as gold went to a higher high point. You see here, this high point on gold is higher than this high point over here. So gold truly did start an uptrend. Higher high point than over here. The low points were getting higher and higher. High points, higher, 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 higher. That's an uptrend. For sure, bullish movement on gold. And we're looking at Bitcoin. If it follows gold, maybe it's a good entry point, right? If you trust that it could continue to follow gold. So what I'm doing is I'm building a checklist, right? If I have 3 or 4 things I look for before I make a move, maybe with trading on Bitcoin, I look for these 3 things or these 4 things. Support level before I trade up, or resistance level before I trade down. Maybe that's one thing I'm looking for technical analysis wise. Number 2, establishment of an uptrend or a downtrend. Number 3, correlation with gold. If I believe there's correlation between gold and cryptos as a safe haven. Number 4, fundamental news on my side. Okay, maybe if I see 3 of those 4, I'm satisfied that 75% in my mind certainty, I'll go with that move. Okay, this is the sort of system that if you set up for yourself, you can be more robotic in your movement, in your trade decisions, and not think emotionally, but think according to your plan, according to your strategy. Okay, and in my mind, I see 3 out of 4 that would allow me to take a shot up off this support level. on my checklist, okay? On your checklist, if you don't, then you don't make the move, right? I also would not shy away from, even if I did a market move up, I wouldn't shy away from a sell stop below this support. Because again, there's that bearish news. That's the one out of the four that's not on my checklist, right? There is that fourth one that's the opposite. Not all four are in alignment on my checklist. The fundamental news is kind of working against my move. So I don't mind setting up the sell stop below the support just in case this happens, right? If this happens again, even if I get a market buy, I lose a little, and then the breakthrough, and this happens with a sell stop again, I'm up on the sell stop in that example more than I lost on the buy. Yeah, let's take a look at Dash. Let's look at a number of assets. Dash, similar movement, right? Look at it go down. Still downtrending on Dash, okay? If we look at, this is confirmation for me that I still want to set up my sell stop, because the crypto market in general tends to move in the same direction. Not every cryptocurrency, but largely they move in the same direction with sentiment on the crypto market in general. So if the more you see different brands still downtrending, the more you might say, if Bitcoin breaks that support, I'm in on a sell stop maybe, okay? Just something to think about. So Dash, downtrending. If we go to EOS, support level, didn't break yet, right? Didn't bounce up yet, but didn't break the support. If we go to XLM, same thing. Huge drop, downtrending still. Lower low points, lower high points still. We can go to Bitcoin JPY. Looks the same as Bitcoin USD. Bitcoin Euro looks the same as Bitcoin USD. We can go to the crypto index. Same thing. Big drop, a bit of a support level that formed, hasn't made its move yet. So you could diversify a bit, if you believe that this broken support here and plummet, if you believe that could happen again, prepare yourself stop below this support. And if this happens again, boy, that's a nice payday, right? At the same time, you can say there also could be a correction up off this support. So you could take a market buy, you could prepare a sell stop. If the market buy is wrong, you get out of the buy at the same spot maybe that your sell stop activates on a sell. And now you've got a shot in the opposite direction to still profit overall if this happens again, okay? That's called a 1-2 move, right? Going with what you see now, maybe a bounce off the support, preparing for a breakthrough in the other direction. Now, I'm seeing more and more as I look at the various brands, the downtrend continuing, right? So if the fundamental news is against you, the downtrend is continuing. If you believe more in the downward movement than the up, then prepare yourself stop if you want to trade Bitcoin. Prepare to sell stop below the support and wait it out, right? You can easily do that as well. I tend to be a little more aggressive, so I might already take the shot at the at Bitcoin going up off the support. You certainly don't need to do that. And then also prepare to sell stop in case it breaks. Okay, still testing the support, still waiting to decide what it wants to do. So you've got a lot of opportunity here in the market for large breakthrough down or large correction up. And you don't have to go after just one. And in the end, you could be right 1 out of 2 and still have a nice profit. Type any questions if you have any. I think this is a good place to stop today. Any questions, comments? Okay, you're very much welcome. Thank you everybody for joining. I really think we're going to have some big movements today, one way or the other. And potentially, if you set up with opportunities in both directions, but limit the risk, you could end up on top quite well if we see a breakthrough like this, right? Or a bounce like this. Breakthrough, big profit on a sell stop. Bounce like this, big profit on a market buy. Okay, the potentials are there. Just limit your risk accordingly as it fits into your exposure plan, and good luck with everything, okay? All right, bye for now, and good luck with the trading until next time. I wish you the best of profits, and be in touch with your account managers if you have any further questions, okay? All right, bye for now.